Good morning, people. Good morning. Good morning. All right, who do we have? Let's see. We got Kittrell and Kegel and Steven, Rye Guy. Dave from Armor 3D is here. Welcome. Boothy's here. Aaron. We got Nathan back. Spectra. Hello. Good morning. Man, I needed this today. Like, it's been a rough couple of days, burning the candle at both ends, and so this is energizing to be on stream again and getting back to a build and doing stuff that I enjoy. So appreciate you all being here so early on a holiday weekend. Excuse me. Yeah, okay. I'll tell you what, let's jump right into it. I'm excited for today. LDO has decided that they wanted to sponsor a filament giveaway this week and probably going forward. So for today, going forward, we're going to give away a spool of LDO filament. So make sure you sign up. The link is in the chat there, pinned at the top. Whoever the winner is, that person will get contacted by Jason from LDO, and they'll get all of your information and handle the shipping and stuff like that. So hopefully it'll get to you a little quicker, and you don't have to rely on me remembering who won and then figuring out logistics. So they're much better at shipping things across the country than I am. So good news. All right, I feel like my camera's a little dark today, so if you guys are good with it, we'll press. Otherwise, I'm gonna close the garage door. I forgot to do that this morning. Should probably do that anyway. So let me have 1 second here. I'm gonna close this, and that should help with sound and cars going by and stuff like that. All right, we're back. Okay, so let's take a look at where we left off last week. I've got next project right here. So you guys are getting a sneak peek. This is what we're going to do next on the channel as part of that raffle that I mentioned last week. So to be continued for this guy. Let's just move it out of the way here. And then this is the project we're going to work on. So finishing up Prusawire, what I did off camera last week is I needed to test fit the gantry to make sure that things were like they should. And I left the rail aligners on here. These are some CNC versions that I have to get the rail aligned with the 2020. So I did that, and I torqued all the connections across the linear rail. And then I got the gantry on here. So I just have it zip tied up to keep the weight off, but that is super smooth across there. One thing I didn't do, and you can see it, there's a little bit of play here, and that is so that when we get the belts installed and everything, that we can tension and remove any slop. So I've intentionally left these two here undone so that we can make those adjustments when we need to. Ella did message me earlier in the week, maybe it was last week, and she recommended that we do not install the bed first, that we get all of the belting done, and then firmware uploaded, tool head on, basically everything else, so that we can level out the gantry and get it coplanar with the, I don't know, the mounts down here. And so to do that, I can't have the bed installed because the tool head will go too low. So I need to do that, and then we can install the bed. So there will be at least one more stream on this before we can start the next build. Also last week, I had to reprint the motor mounts here. So these are now great for 10mm rods instead of the 8s. So pay attention when you're printing your parts. If you're doing this build, you want to make sure you print the correct ones. I did not. So reprinted these, got everything back together, installed it to make sure it fit, and it does. And then that's where I left it. So we're not even belted yet. That's something that I want to get to today. I started building the clockwork extruder. I still need to do the stealth burner face, so maybe we get to that today and hopefully get the stealth burner installed. There's still wiring to do, a whole bunch of stuff. And then I still need to reprint the knob here for the display. Kitch was asking, where did I get the CNC aligners? These came from AliExpress. They're just chunks of aluminum. And I believe that the holes in here are meant to go over the holes in the rail like that, so you can still access. But then you have mounting locations here. So if you really wanted to bolt that to the 2020, you could. And you could use that sort of like an end stop on something. If you wanted to, you could just put those on there permanently and secure them. I use them for rail aligners. So they work really well. I also have a version for 2040 if you're looking for them. Also on AliExpress. I don't have a link for you right now, but if you shoot me a message in the Discord, I will do my best to get you a link. Cool. So I guess we should start doing some belts. Sorry about that. Bumping the camera left and right today. Printed dozens of those. Yeah, I have too. And then I got tired of printing them and wasting the plastic. So A, I started keeping the ones that I did print. And then B, I got the aluminum ones. And those work much better. So yeah, for what it's worth. Cool. So let's take a look at the chrome here. I need to... So what is this? Streamlabs tried to update me today. So I think it kind of broke a lot of the different windows and stuff. So I need to make some updates on things. So it tried to update and I was like, no, I'm about to stream. We're not updating anything. And so it's, there we go. Okay. So looking at things here, I need to open the ad again. So just coming back in, go into 3D viewer, and then that'll open it up. Where is the motor labeled y-axis? It is on the right-hand side, Aaron. It's this one on the right. I don't know that it matters. I will plug it into whichever version I need to. Or I'm sorry, whichever port on the board that I need to. All right. Opening up a browser. We can do... Turn off the PSU, I don't need that. Rubber feet, I don't need those. I added some really kind of fancy ones. They're like the ones that you would find for the X1 Carbon. So whoever wins this, you're going to get a nice stable base with some vibration support in there. We're now recommending that it goes on the right side. Great. Yeah, that's an easy software change if you need to. And then if you don't want to do it in software, you can just swap the two connections and that should work. But good point. Turn some of that off. Turn some of that off. Okay. Grill. Four puller. Entry. Let's do the frame assembly here. I need to remove the bed. Physical location, not software. I'm just saying that you could if you wanted to. Physical location is better. That makes sense. But you could do it in software if you want. I just want to see. Bed. Here we go. Prusa textured bed. Turn the bed plate off. I think that's good. Turn the Y carriage stuff off. As part of future proofing for a B2 update. Oh, nice. So there's already plans to do a updated beta release. That's awesome to hear. All right, where's my stealth burner? Off there. Carriage off. Oh, jeez. That's what I don't like about this thing. So if you accidentally click in the wrong place, it's going to reset your project. I'm just trying to understand how the belts route. We'll turn this faceplate off so we can see. All right, so the rear belt looks like it goes to the right on the rear idler, and then down around the motor, back up across the top, and then into the left side. So I think that's what we'll do first. And then conversely, the forwardmost belt goes on the upper pulley on this right side and goes up and around. Okay, great. So I'll tell you what, let's take you back over to the desktop. I'm sorry, the toolbox here, and we'll get the belts going. It's gonna be difficult to show on camera, but I will do my best to kind of talk about it. So we cut these belts last week, and it took some doing for me. Again, just making mistakes on it, but got those installed with the locks that Ella designed, and I really quite like that. And if I move this in and out, there is some tensioning in there, so we'll get it snug enough, and then we'll move on with tensioning. So difficult to see, but the lower of the two idlers is where I'm going with this belt first. And it's really cool. You get pretty open access there, although with the belt curling at the end, it's tough. So I'm going to use a pick to just guide it where it needs to be. But again, that is pretty open. You can grab it easily through there. So great job on that one. It did twist on me. There we go. So we'll just keep that on there like that. And then this is going to go around the lower motor here. So trying to untangle. We'll go around the motor. And even though we use the spacer to get the pulley in the correct orientation, I still like to make sure, because if it does rub on a pulley hub or something like that, you're going to get belt wear and tearing and fraying of the edges of your belt, and it's going to create a lot of dust and stuff like that. It doesn't look good, and then eventually it could cause your belts to wear prematurely. And so what I like to do is, even though I'm using a pulley alignment tool, generally I go back and adjust like a millimeter or two in either direction, and then I Loctite those those set screws on the pulley hub. Man, hands are too big to get in there, so probably use a pick to help you, and then use some needle nose to get in there and grab the end of the belt so that you can pull that through. Is it fine to print the parts out of filled filaments, GF or CF? Well, Spectra, all of the parts that you're seeing, except for the new ones I had to print, right? So this one is not. These rod mounts are not glass filled. I just added a fuzzy skin onto it. That way it kind of matched the matte texture. But I ran out of black glass filled ABS. All the orange stuff and all of the other black parts, including the stealth burner mount, are glass fiber ABS. So yes, it is okay to do that. In most cases, it's probably recommended to use glass filled, especially for parts like motor mounts where you want things to be really rigid, and the glass fiber allows things to not warp as badly. So you probably have a better printing experience with glass or carbon filled stuff because it just stabilizes the plastic. So if you can, and you have the hardware to print glass filled or carbon filled stuff, you should do that. PCCF is acceptable, yeah. So the ducts for this printer, just to make sure that they don't melt, for the winter, I will print some PPS CF ducts so that you don't have to worry about them melting on you. And this is a place where I'm going to need this pick because the belt wants to go into the end of the what's it called? The end of the extrusion there. As long as our parts are ABS or PCCF. Yep. No to PETG filled or unfilled. Aaron, I don't know, man. I think PETG would be fine. Why do you say no? I feel like PEG would be fine. That's how the original parts on this build were made. They were all PEG. And so on the left side here, you want to make sure that you're going around the upper pulley. Or sorry, the upper idler inside. And then that's going to come back over to your stealth burner, over to your X carriage here. I just want to make sure you're within the flanges of that idler too. And then I've got enough belt, enough slack in here to be fine. Just got to figure out how that goes in there. I don't see how that mounts. How is the belt retained in there? Creep under tension? Aaron, I sort of disagree, man. I think because the original Prusa is also tensioned and it uses PETG. My V Minion is PETG. I have not seen creep with that filament. Could be wrong, but I have not experienced that. So on this right side, on the forward belt, we're going to go around the idler and up first. You're on your phone right now. I mean, it's possible that you could get some creep. Anything could break over time with belt tension, but if you're running GT2 belts, like your belt tension shouldn't be that high. Yeah, this one's being a pain here. It doesn't want to wrap like it should. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down with it so I can grab it and pull it through. And then we'll go up around that pulley. Just trying to turn it 90 degrees was not working out. So it just goes up through and all the way like that. And then we'll insert here, cross that idler. And then as I pull through it, I'm just going to make sure that we get onto the hub there, onto that idler. On the flanges. Good. And then through this one here. Good morning, CyberTech. And this one should go all the way down. Out the bottom. Around our second motor here. Using my finger to try to help that go through. Okay, that one was a little bit easier. And then we'll go through this lower pulley on the left side and then back to your tool head that way. This is the other one. It's going to make that sharp turn, so you may need needle nose if you can't get your finger in there to grab that one. But that goes through like so. And then that's funny, like these, I don't know how I cut these belts, but one is way longer than the other. Maybe I think what I might have done is, that's significantly different. What did I do wrong here? Make sure you all check out the Discord. Yep. You didn't miss anything, Havoc. We're routing some belts right now, with the hope that we can get things tensioned up and sort of align the gantry here. I think I might have grabbed the wrong belt. This feels really short. Ah, that's frustrating. Yeah, that's not even enough to reach the carriage. So this belt is way too short. I think I grabbed the wrong one last week when we were cutting belts, and I sort of ran out of 6mm belt. I think I might have. Come on. I think I might have grabbed the wrong end. See, here the belt likes to slide and it's getting pinched in between the pinched in between those idlers in there. Yeah, there's no way this is 1600. That means I have to take the carriage off too then. You have a lot of projects you want to do and just lack of funds, filament space, and workbench. Some of the printers on your carpeted floor and your bed. Spectra, I'm there with you. Havoc, it is CoreXZ, just like a Switchwire. That's why it's called Prusawire. Havoc, yeah, not Havoc. Spectra. Same thing over here with me. We are giving this one away, so if you are lucky to win, you don't have to worry about putting it together. But same thing for me: space, time, cost. So, and then as I build more things, I need to let things go, just to keep a reasonable amount of printers. Right now I have about 23 or 24, and I don't need that many. I can only run 3, maybe 4 of them at the same time before we start popping breakers. I don't have very many outlets in this garage, and I don't have a bunch of extra circuits either. And so I can't run all of these printers. Spooky Gunner T. Oof, you made the mistake of trimming a belt about 2mm too short. That sucks. But I'm feeling your pain right now. This is a little more than 2mm. This one is several millimeters out of spec. And I don't know how I did that. I think I just might have grabbed the wrong belt. Because this one is, you need 2 1600mm long belts. Somehow I just got the wrong one. What I do need help understanding, we'll take a look at the CAD here in a second once I fix my screw up, is how this other end of the belt secures inside. That's the part I don't fully understand yet. What is going on? All right. Luckily, there's an access hole on the other side of the carriage here. You put your tool in there and press out the screw. Okay, so our blocks, again, awesome design. They have this, it's just a block, right? The belt goes through, and there's a clip in the backside that presses that belt in and sort of locks it into place. Really, really cool idea. And then easily this block comes out. That releases our belt. Hey, good morning, Jeremy. 3D Wolf says, next project, accumulator pack to cover the missing wattage. Good morning, Keela. We got people joining in today. Awesome. Nice for PLA and PETG. You have a giant Mercury 1 for PLA. When you say giant, is it a Mercury 1 Plus, Havoc? You have the giant one? I've always wanted to do a Mercury 1. I ended up getting rid of my Ender 3 donor printers when I moved out here to California. So I didn't keep anything that I could do a Mercury 1 build on. I think it'd be fun. But it's not something I would keep long term, if I'm honest. I would just build it to be able to have fun with it, and then I would just probably not mess with it after I built it. So it would end up being one of those printers that get donated or sold off. Yeah, this is the end of the belt that I cut last week. That's only 1330, and it needs to be 1600. So I do need to cut another M6 belt. Oh, Tronxy that you converted. Okay. Found it. Found the like button. Appreciate that. Yeah, every like helps. But what helps even more right now, if I'm honest, is watch time. So even if you're lurking, let it play in the background. Every minute of watch time helps the channel. And that's where we're lacking right now. It's kind of stuck at around 2,500 hours. So to grow, I need to beat, I think 3,000 is the number. So how we do that, I don't know. It's all in your hands. Let's see, what else do we have for belting? Yeah, this is the problem we ran into last week. Lots of 9mm belt, not a lot of 6mm belt. That looks like 9. Yeah, this is all 9mm belt. Same. And those are loops. I hope I have more belt. If not, we may have to go digging in bins. Man, I thought I already did that. Here we go. Here's some more 6mm belt. We'll cut it off with the giant roll. So I'm trying to catch up in chat as much as possible. If you guys ask questions and I miss it and I don't address you in a few minutes, just shout it out again, and I will try my best to answer you. Let's see. Aaron says you print a lot of Prusa wire parts on your Switchwire. Good idea. Right there. Off to do a housework and put the stream on for that reason. Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think that's the trouble that small creators get into is the watch time is the thing that matters the most. Everybody worries about subs, but watch time is really what matters, because then YouTube will recommend your videos to more and more people, and then with that, the subs come. But we'll get there. It's not the goal of the channel. The goal of the channel is to get projects done and to give away this Prusawire. Hey, Ella, thanks for coming in. You got back just in time. How was your mini vacation? I, too, went away for the weekend. I left early morning on Friday and went to hang out with the 3D printing elves. Drop the link in my Discord. Thanks. Check my Discord. Okay. Oh, what gives me the honor of getting more productive? Yeah, we got to get 3D Wolf pumped up, too. Another small YouTuber doing good stuff and trying to grow. So support that guy if you can. All right, I think this is correct now. Somehow we grabbed the end of the belt we cut off last week and tried to do that. Let's see, let's go all the way. So there's 1,600. So should be good now. Luckily, doing these belts is super simple. Just slide it through the hole there. You want to go into the same side as your heat insert and press that up. As Ella recommended, you leave like 1 or 2 teeth sticking out. The important thing is to make sure it matches on both sides. So on that other one, I've got 1 tooth sticking out. And as I hold my belt in place, I'll grab that lock, put the lock into the back side here, and that's going to press the teeth into the detail on the inside of the block, locking it into place. And there I go with my 1 tooth out, blocks all the way in. That's not going to move. And then from here, I route the belt free end through the hole going to the right side. Now we're back to where we started. I take my long screw here, goes through the part into the block, and then it should be able to grab that heat insert there. And I just get a little bit of tension on it, make sure they're equal. Yep, there we are. Now we're good to go. You can reinstall that. So let me check the Discord to make sure that what I'm seeing over here is something that we need. which is so much easier and faster when it comes to watch hour and subs. They just lower the qualifications. Oh man, Keela, I need to get on it. I just can't. This PC, I'm using a mini PC out here in the garage, and it can't multi-stream without bogging down and causing lag. And it starts to clip video. So I would have to choose one or the other. I could not do both, unfortunately. Let's see. Okay, so from Ella in the chat, got me a link to go to belts. Yes, great photos. And okay, so the lock just goes in the other side and it locks in the belt. Understood. Got you. All right. So I could show the photo, but I think it's easier just to do it here. Essentially what's happening is the belt will come in through the left side here, and there are two holes. So your belt will go through, and just like we did with the other block, you'll take one of those small locks after you insert the belt, slide that underneath, and it presses the belt into a feature in the lower side of this and mechanically locks it in place. And that's pretty cool. Very simple, very easy to do. And if you need to take it apart like I did, you could do it in just a couple minutes. So we'll get to that here in a second. Thanks, Ella, for sharing that. There's so much going on in all the different servers and channels on Discord that it's not always easy to find the things you need. And then Discord doesn't make it easy to go back and search anything either. So shout out to her for helping out. Amp is not ready. Very tired of Super Pinda. Why? What's wrong with Super Pinda? I unfortunately do not have, or B, cannot find the Revo. What's the touch version of it? The PZ probe. I can't find the cold side. I thought I had another one. I've looked through everything over the week, could not find it. So we are going to stick with Pinda on this. I will ship this printer with the additional parts to accept the Revo. So if the winner of the machine wants to get a PZ probe, add it to this machine, it will already have the ducts that you can just swap. So I'll try to make it easy for you guys to upgrade if you want to, but we are going to stick with the original hardware on this one. That was the plan when I had first started, and so I think I'll just stick with that. Ella is the GOAT. She's awesome. All right, so again, I'm going to go down with this one first so I can grab it with my hand. Using that pick to push it through. Okay. And my rear belt got all loose by what I was doing over there, so we'll just tighten that up a little bit. And I'm going to use the zip tie holding the gantry as my advantage to sort of block. Let's take this rail block off and put it here, and then push my gantry up against that. So as I pull on this, it'll keep things correctly aligned. So right now, these are skipped off the idlers up top here. Oh, that's annoying. Come on. So what's happened is, like, the idlers inside this upper block, as you try to pull one belt in or out, they'll try to jump over the flange and then they get wedged inside the printed part. And so that's what I was just doing there. But now that everything is aligned like it should be, we'll do that. And so now that this comes down, I'll be able to go straight up through the printed part. That, be able to grab. And then again, we're going to make sure we're on that idler there. So, and then we can come through this upper one. Pretty open access on the back side of this to get through, so it's really easy to get that through there. Great. That gantry is wobbling. That's because I haven't tightened it. So I haven't tightened these down because I wanted to belt and tension the belts, and that helps to align it. And then I know you said you dropped me a message, I think a week ago, saying that we need to bump against this. So what I'm going to do is I'm a belt, run it down into the bottom of the motor mount here, and then we'll tighten things down to lock it in, and then we'll be good. Come on, Hadron. I think that's how you say it, Hadron, or Hadron. Correct me in the chat. I have old printed parts there. Where, here? Yeah, I printed these a while ago. I thought you said that they would work. If they're not going to work, I need to know that pretty quick so I can print new ones. All right, going all the way down. Gonna keep things sort of tensioned so they stay aligned. Let me check in with chat here. Petty Ruxpin, welcome in. Oh yeah, that's Stone Wolf. Killer Prince music. You're not hearing music? I'm hearing music. Do you want music louder, Aaron? Is that what you're saying? I really had to do something first. I don't know what that something is. Sorry, Ella. Context inside chat is difficult. I really wish you could have a magic wand and translate your thoughts into a Switchwire manual. I know I'm supposed to be helping. I'm so sorry. I'm super busy. My idlers. These, you're talking the top ones here? These idlers are different. No music on your end. It's not streaming. No music. I'm seeing that it's streaming. I can turn this up a little bit. Are you hearing it now? How about that? Are you hearing it at all? I'm seeing it. Not sure why you're not hearing it. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So it seems like it turned it off. So appreciate that. Yeah. If you guys ever see like weird stuff in the chat, you're not seeing what I'm talking about, you're not hearing the music, you're not hearing me, the camera goes nuts, or we're clipping really bad and dropping frames, like, yeah, shout it out. I have no idea unless you guys tell me. So thanks for doing that. I don't get offended if I get called out. I just try to do better. All right, let's grab these and pull these through. Okay. Then we'll go up and around this idler here. So, great. I think 1600 millimeters is probably too long. That's what's recommended in the BOM. I think it's probably too long though. I think you could get away with, because if I pull this over, I still have about that much from where I'm holding to the end here is about how much I have left. So maybe 1500 is a better, 1500, 1550 is a better number. And I'm just making sure before I start to put this in that things are routed on all the pulleys as they should be. Hey, good morning, 3 medic vents. Totally too long. You're generous. No, generous is fine. I'm just saying, for ordering purposes, I think 1500 each. That would be 3 meters of belt instead of 3.5 meters of belt. So depending on if you buy it by the meter or by the 100 centimeters, it may save some folks some money or something. Okay, so that's that. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think I need to take this off to be able to have access to do this properly. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to get your fingers in there. You have no access to those locks. Or sorry, not the locks, the the belt pathing in there, because the 2020 blocks access through the top of the X carriage. You do need to take it off, yeah. So I should have just left it off instead of putting it back on here, but it does help with routing the belts. So if you just put it on loosely, it'll retain that stuff in there. And then you can take it off to thread your belts through again. Because you need to be able to access the belt path through the top here. Like that. There's one. I'm going to pre-tension these just a little bit. I'm not going to pull on it very hard, but I do want it pre-tensioned so I have the maximum amount of adjustment with the tensioner screws. So just kind of hold it in place roughly once I get the belts through there. And I'll just try to get everything sort of tight there. I'm just doing one at a time. Want to double check before I put this lock in there that all of the belting is on the pulleys as they should be. Nothing is hanging over one of the flanges. It's around the pulleys on the motors. If you don't, and you cut your belt and then you have to readjust, you may find yourself a little bit short. Pre-tension, definitely recommended. Don't commit. Correct. Don't commit until you're fully happy. Hey, good morning, Captain Kern. Just make sure there are equal teeth. Yes, I will do my best. I will do my best. I'm not gonna lie to you, they are slightly unequal, but I think that has to do with tension here. Let's see. Yeah, they're slightly unequal, but we'll figure that out here in a second. Let me grab those locks. I gotta get the parts. And they're very tiny. Very, very tiny locks. I did print a few extras just in case we had mishaps where I broke them or I put them somewhere and knocked them off the desk and they fell down between things. So these tiny little locks, you want to print yourself a few extras just in case. I chose to print all parts out of glass fiber, so these are also glass fiber. They should be pretty rigid. It's a little tight to get your hands in there, but they go in easy enough. Okay, that is that. And now we'll do this rear belt. We'll try to get equal teeth and equal tension. Again, not going off of anything, but feel. I'm just visually making sure that things are on the correct idlers. Again, we want to not have issues down the road. Yep, so that one there, that one had skipped off, so good catch. All of those together. All right, so we'll check some length here. Roughly the same. Roughly the same. That second lock in. We can put the gantry, I'm sorry, put the X. Cool. There's that. I'm gonna leave that there. There's no need to cut that just now. We'll do that once we get final. The clips will stay, but tensioners, I'm unsure what will happen. Unsure if keep this in beta 2. Keep what? Cut 3 times, measure 10 is your motto? Yes. I've already had to cut belts 3 times. Last week, I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought that I needed 1,600 millimeters total of belt, and then I just cut it in half because I knew I needed 2. When reality, I needed 2 lengths of 1,600 millimeters. Then we found ourselves in a position where I didn't have enough belt, so I had to get different belt. And now we're back. Cool. That's on pre-tension. Things are moving fine. I should be able to cut this zip tie now. The gantry might fall because we don't have the key back on there. So we'll need to do that next. So far, so good though. Ooh, I did get the heat bed expansion joints that we're gonna need for the heat bed. So that's awesome. Yeah, Ella, no problem. If you're able, let the stream play. Have it playing in the background so that we can get some watch time and get the channel more views. It'd be great. We're sitting on a cable. I was like, why is that unstable there? All right. Here is the back side of the machine, the prettier of the two sides. Lots going on, but that moves pretty well as it is. And you know, all the way at the bottom, because I left that adjustment in there, we can tweak things to make it more or less level, touching the motor mounts at the same time. So we'll work on that when we go to commission the machine. All right, looking at the back side here, we need to take a look at Chrome, see what we got going on. Yeah, my gantry is racked, Aaron. I know that. I will deal with that at a later point. Hello racked, yeah. It's about, and there's a finger space in there, so it's probably 10, 15 millimeters different left to right. Again, not worried about it. We'll do that on the de-racking process. So Kill, is the watch hours all you need? Yeah. Yep. All I need is watch hours. YouTube lowered the sub goal, but we had to get 1K. Yeah. Hey, good morning, Steve. Yeah, it's 500. Yeah, 500 right now, but you still need the watch hours to get it. Turning around to the back side. Let's look at. Okay, so we already have these brackets on here. We just need to add the hardware. So there's the key back type thing. I need the end mount here. What are we calling this? The anchor. And then the idler is the other part. And this is made up of two flange bearings. So two 623s. Looks like a washer on the outside. Is there one on the inside? Yep. So one on the inside and then one on the outside. And this is a M3x30 because of course it is. Back over. I think there's a heat set in the back of this. I'm pretty sure I put that in there. We'll find out here in a second. Let's grab some hardware. Need some 30s. Again, always verifying to make sure that is a 30. Yes. Pretty sure I put a heat set in there, but I'm not confident. Yeah, it feels like it. All right. So on that, I need to add two flange bearings, and I did get more. We got some of these here in the mail the other day with that additional belt. We just need two of these and then two shims and or washers. I have a bunch of shims. So I'm just going to use two of those. One on the inside of the stack and then one on the outside of the stack. The way it goes, you'll have shim on the screw first, and then flange down, flange up, and then another washer there. So, and then this goes into your part. What'd you miss? Just came back from making a roast beef sandwich. That sounds amazing. You didn't miss anything. We got the belts on, and now we're doing the keyback stuff. So we'll add that there. This doesn't need to be super tight. You do want those flange bearings to be able to spin. And as long as they do, you're good enough. Don't need to make it super tight. It's not a critical thing. It just acts as a pulley for the keyback. And so the one that I got was on Amazon. And if you're looking for it, it looks like this right here. Anything that is similar to this, Ella tells me will work. So this is a knockoff one. It came in a 2-pack. It is 62 millimeters by 62 millimeters, and thickness is about 15. It's a 1 kilogram tension inside there, and so that'll mount like that. Holes are M5 holes. That's what you need for to fit into the bracket, and so that'll just go in there like that. We'll cross bolt through with some M5 hardware, and then this this will come across the pulley and mount to the anchor that we still need to add to the gantry. So the end here with the cable coming out goes against the frame. Logically, it needs to align with the pulley there. Good morning, Marcus. I need to find the anchor part. We'll get that installed. So that's this one here. And if I go back to my ad, it's got hardware here. This is a M3x10, holding it to the 2020, and then the other one is an M3x16. So M3x16 through here, and that's what we're going to use as a connection point to the anchor. And then I'm just going to loosely add that to the 2020, and then we'll slide it to where it needs to be. I have a few roll-in T-nuts here that are M3 sized. So I'm just going to use some of those in the part here. So like that. If you wanted to use the other ones, the drop-in style, you could. These I just have right next to me, so we'll use a couple of these. They should slide just the same as long as you release the tension here. A couple 10s, using that nice black hardware for you all. This might be 12s. Yeah, those are 12s. Probably a bit too long for what we're trying to do. So, ends up here, I think. It's still 12. Weird. There we go. Alright, so there's some 10s. We're hiding under another little baggie of hardware. Okay, just roughly getting those T-nuts aligned. So when I put this on there, we can engage with the T-nut. All right, visually, I'm just looking to align this upper pulley with the anchor here. It's okay if it's, you know, skewed a little bit to one side. Personally, I think it should probably skew to the inside of it. That way there's like a A-frame. If I go inboard like that, I may have an issue on this, just getting more tension on it. So I think for me, I want to slide this inboard towards the midline of the machine. Just a little bit. And that's probably good right there. So we'll just tension that down. And then we'll add that M3x16 into this. It does go into plastic, so you don't really need to crank on it too much. It is a 16 that goes in here, but I'm thinking that you could probably use a 14 or a 12, something like that. And it's a socket head screw. I've got some of those. Let's see, how long is this one? Make sure you install the other bumper. Yes, I will get the other bumper. Have not forgotten. Thanks for reminder. Definitely helps when there's a lot going on and you're kind of working off of a CAD. It's always helpful to have someone who's done it before in the chat, making suggestions and reminders about things and stuff. So appreciate you being here. Here we go. 16. That one goes in. The entry's not super heavy yet because we haven't put the stealth burner on it. So right now it seems like it'd be fine and kind of holds its position, but once you add weight to that thing, it's going to easily come down. All right, so this will go into plastic here. Getting it started might be a little bit of a challenge. You could do this before you install the anchor onto the 2020. It might make it easier for you. I like things difficult. All right, come on, you. The printer's wanting to slide across the table as I'm pressing on here, so I am going to turn this so you press into the wall and don't move. There it goes. Adding a little pressure in there to get that thing started, and then it tends to go in pretty easily after that. I'm going to leave it hanging out a little bit so that when I route the cable here, it goes across the pulley, and then I can slip it onto anchor and then into the part. So you see that it sort of fell off the pulley there. Press this in, and then from here you should be able to screw that in a little more and hold it on there. Definitely always helpful. I would go longer, not shorter. Yeah, I would go a little bit longer. But I'm saying you could get away with it until you needed something else. You could get like a 16 or a 20. 20 would be best. And as I'm doing this, I think maybe a washer on there would be helpful as well. So I'm going to undo this. I'm going to add a washer onto here. I feel like my keyback style is just not staying very well onto the head of a socket head cap screw. So I'm just going to add a M3 washer. Get more surface area on it. I'm also realizing that I need to bolt this in. Press that into place. And through here we have, looks like some M5 by 30s to mount this block. Luckily I have a few of those. They will not be black. They will be silver. And then definitely have some M5 X nuts. So some 30s through there. And that. And then with our M5 X nuts, things will be nice and secure. Where are they? I guess I used them all up out of this kit. So we'll come to one of these other ones. There has to be some M5s in here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. All right, a couple of X nuts into the backside. We get a larger tool here. And again, we don't need to crank down. This is just to mechanically hold it in there. So we'll just get it tensioned and let it go. We'll do the same on the lower one. Big. Okay. So I think I'm good with that. Maybe the angle was causing that to slip. Good there. All right. Thanks for the sub, Devin. Every sub helps. Appreciate you. Got 37 viewers on today. That's awesome. Thanks for one of you 37. We'll take this home. Maybe. And then that'll go right on there. That looks like a decent angle. All right. So the way it's going to work, again, I met up with the 3D printing elves this weekend. and we flushed out a lot of details on the raffle. Okay, so it will be a raffle. Tickets are going to be $10, and there are a limited number of them. Details will be released tomorrow, so as soon as I get those, I'll make a post on the channel here, and then also in my Discord, sharing information on how to get signed up, how to purchase tickets, all that stuff. So tomorrow, we should know a lot more. But this will be one of the 15, no less than 15 prizes that you can win for the cost of one ticket. All the proceeds are going to go towards the 3D Printing Elves nonprofit to make sure that kids have a nice Christmas and they get something for Christmas this year. And then when it's not Christmas time, the 3D Printing Elves take care of less fortunate kids all year long by donating toys and that kind of stuff to those groups. So your $10 ticket will get you potentially a nice printer or a nice prize, and then it's helping out kids. So stay tuned for details on that tomorrow. Bees 3D, good morning. Welcome. All right, so that is on there. That's looking good. Should not come off now with that extra washer on. Pretty good angle here, slightly inboard. So just keeping a nice sort of triangle there. And now that's a lot more supported, especially when we add that tool head to the front. It's not going to drop on its own. Good to go. All right, Aaron, I think it's time for a bumper. I think we should add the bumper on now. Bumper goes on the left-hand side of the same gantry using some M3x20 hardware and a couple of teams. So the bumper is in the container of parts. It is kind of cool. They added the angry eyes onto the bumper, as you see on a lot of other parts there. Hey, Digital Dragon. Luke, welcome, buddy. Good to see you. Finishing up the belting on the Prusawire today. So today's a good day. I feel recharged by being on stream. Yesterday was rough. I did not get enough sleep on Friday night. Not even close. And so yesterday I was pretty wrecked. Had to get in some training. So I did a 5-mile ruck. I know that Lee Marie, both Jeremy and Keela are getting into rucking a little bit. But I did a 5-miler yesterday to try to get ready for a competition I'm doing in October. It's an 18.7 mile ruck march, and you have to complete it in 4 hours. So getting time under load is the name of the game. And to do so, I've got to ruck 2 or 3 times a week per my training plan to be in what I would consider decent enough shape to be competitive. So, although I was tired, did not sleep Friday night, I think I got like 2 hours. And I had to do homework Saturday. So I had to knock out a paper. So I did my 5-mile ruck, knocked out a paper, and then took like a 2-hour nap. And then crashed for 8 hours last night. And today I'm feeling so much better. The weight that I'm carrying is 30 pounds. The competition is only 25. So if I load just a little bit heavier than what's required, I should be in better shape to carry a lighter load, is the thought process. So just getting these screwed in, and then we'll add these in. Yeah, I don't have a Go Ruck backpack. I have an actual rucksack. So like an army issued rucksack. I don't know that it's any better. It's very bulky and overkill for what is required. I think a smaller backpack would be easier to manage. But what I like about the army one is that it has a plastic frame that I can use to distribute heavier loads. So if I do a 50-pound ruck, I can load it up. There's extra pockets for food and all that kind of stuff. So if you're going backpacking, it's probably great for that. Before a race, a smaller, more streamlined pack would be great. I didn't notice, you know, how far away or close this bumper should be. So if I look at a quick measurement here, and I'm going from, let's say, in here and check out, let's say from that edge to that edge, looks like 10 millimeters is the number. Yeah, so 10 millimeters is what I need. You refuse to ruck anymore? Do a lot of rucking? Is that why? Does the job and can handle that, no problem. 30 pounds for 5 miles is a lot. Nah, you'd be fine. I didn't start at that. I just, well, maybe I did because I'm dumb. But you don't have to. You can start with your 1 mile, and then you can just add a mile like every 2 weeks. And so like do 1 mile for 2 weeks, and then on week 3 you would just go 2 miles, and then on week 5 you would go 3 miles and work your way up. It really depends on how many times per week you're rucking and whatnot. Okay, so that's 10 millimeters away. We'll lock it in right there. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be functional. Okay. That's good to know. I'm choosing to just keep mine at 10 millimeters away. That's what it shows in CAD, and so that's what I'll do. But if it doesn't matter, that's good info. There's a difference between workout and torture. Yes. 5 miles okay, 20 miles just drive. Yeah. But then you don't win like this super fancy badge, and you don't have bragging rights if you just drive. I mean, it takes me 20 miles just to get to the nearest town when I'm driving. Okay, bumper's on. Support system is on. I think we de-rack the gantry now. Does that sound good? Or should we add stealth burner now? I think we de-rack first, because stealth burner is one of the last things that we want to do. If rucking is just walking with weight, you can ruck all day. I mean, Kegel, I would say I thought the same thing, but when you try it, it is so much different. You just got to do it. De-rack before belting? Yeah, maybe. But having it be so easy to just remove the lock that's in here, I think I could just take the lock out and adjust belt tension and de-rack that way, if that makes sense. So like right now, still rack, so I'm gonna pull out both of these locks and then press down to get those, you know, on the motor mount, right? That's the goal. Both touching the motor mount. And then from here, tension up my belts. Hold on, grab the wrong belt there. As I pull those through, I am now de-racked. I am slightly tensioned. I can put my locks back in. If I can get my fat fingers in there. There we go. All right, so there's one. I'm still adding tension. Hold that. We'll add the second lock. A little tough to get your hands in there, so sorry if I'm blocking your view. Not really much you can see from that angle anyway. But they do slide in pretty easily. So there we are, de-racked on the motor mounts, no movement. And now I can just tighten the two that I have there. Let's see, take all belt tension off, loosen the top and front screws, drop the gantry to the motors, then tighten up the top screws, then do the front screws. Yep, that's what we're doing. So naturally that made sense to my brain. Thank you for confirming. But yeah, so dropped it down to the motors, loosened all the tension. Now we can tighten the top as Ella suggests. That'll lock in that. Then we'll do these front ones here. And that'll lock in that. Again, it is plastic. We don't want to crack it. And there we go. We are de-racked. Very easy. You might end up going on that run with you next. Oh, yeah, let's do it. Next Rocky Mountain. You're making a joke about parents. Yeah, we're tracking the joke, Kegel. Please don't sit on your shoulders. Yeah, same. That's the hard part. I just remember my neck and shoulders just killing me at the end of the 20 mile last year, or 18.7 mile last year. You think the rear M5x8 screw is still loose though? You know what? I totally forgot there was it. Actually, no. So I put that one on there, and I'm pretty sure I tensioned that on the rear. I don't recall that I forgot. So when I was putting the gantry on, I did that off stream. When I was putting the gantry on, I did tighten up the rear, knowing that I wouldn't be able to access it with the frame the way it is. So I'm fairly certain that it's tensioned on the back. All right, so as long as when you bump to the top of the frame isn't racked. Okay, let's see. Nope. I mean, when I press on it, sure, but it does stop where it's supposed to stop. And then at the bottom, same deal. I can de-rack a little more if I need to with some belt tension because they're fairly loose. We are working up to St. Jude Walk next year. Mallow Maker went from Tennessee to Illinois. How far is that? Yeah, Ella, exactly right. I could pull it out with belt tension. It's maybe, if I'm pressing on it, I can see about 1 millimeter, which I agree we can fix with some belt tension. It's a really simple build. You guys did a great job on this. It's probably the easiest belt path that I've seen. You have so many ways to access it to get your hands and stuff in there. The only tricky part is here at the XZ joiners, getting around those pulleys. Everything else is fantastic. It's annoying with Switchwire. Racking affects your bed mesh. It does. It sure does. And that's why once we get software on this thing and we start doing bed meshing and stuff like that, I typically will use the bed mesh to identify racking and stuff like that, and it'll give me an idea of what I need to correct. It's a little bit more involved of a process to do it that way, but I'm a visual learner. And so if I can get it pretty close mechanically by, measuring with a tool and working on belt tension, then I'm good to go. It's usually not too bad. Love St. Jude. You love a pretty Prusa in your life? Lee Marie, you got to buy some tickets. Should go live tomorrow. Again, I'm not in charge of doing raffle stuff. That is 3D printing elves. And they're not here to defend themselves today. But we talked about it on Friday. And things are set up. Should go live tomorrow, barring any issues. And then from there, you'll be able to buy tickets starting tomorrow. Also suggest leveling your Y rod blocks. Square them to the aluminum of the frame up front and at the back. Y rod block. These here, the ones in the rear. Yeah, so I think when I installed, they are flush to the frame, like you were saying, but I will do my best to get them aligned. So I will loosen these. I'll keep the front where they are, but I will loosen the rear. My plan is to put the carriage on move that to the back and allow things to find their natural place, and then I'll tighten everything down again. Is that what you mean? So I'm going to loosen things, move it, tighten after they find their home. They are flush, and I am great. No, you're great. You're great. Okay. Yeah. Pretty good. That went quicker than I thought it would. What should we do next? I've got the bed stuff here. I know you wanted me to wait till last to do that. But if that means that I have to take it apart and do it off stream to get things correct, then we can do that. What I plan to use is I'm going to use one of these. So this is a a Big Tree Tech Pi. This is a version 1. It's just a spare that I have. I don't have an actual Pi, and so the winner is going to get one of these. This is a little bit better in my opinion because I can run 24 volt directly to it, and I don't have to have a separate converter to take it down to 5 volt just to power it. That sounds like a good thing. The idler up front, and we go through that first. Idler up front. This guy here? Yeah, it's already on. We did this one, I want to say 2 streams ago. So idler up front's already there. I'm using I probably can't see it, so let's turn this. I'm using a tooth idler with a couple of bearings there. And yeah, I thought that was a better option than having no teeth. So that's my plan. I'm looking in there. I think I need to add square nuts to these front 2 Y rod holders. The rear does have it already, but as I'm looking at that, it looked like I forgot to put square nuts in these front ones, but it's not a big deal. Knock that out really quickly. Grab some hardware here. Actually, we'll use the stock stuff. So a lot of extra parts left over from the teardown, and in there are a bunch of square nuts. Gotta say, I thought that when I posted this on social medias and stuff, that there'd be a lot more, I don't know, excitement about it. What I'm seeing in return is a little bit of negativity. It put me off a little bit. There are certain people on social media that believe that this is going to be terrible. It's going to print like crap, blah, blah, blah. And so now, for me personally, this is turning into a prove people wrong type of thing. Hey, Havoc, good morning. Martin, I think you're late. You're late. I'll never forgive you. Unacceptable. I expected better from a professional. So those are in. Not a big deal. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Aaron. Like, you're having good results. Ella's having good results. I doubt that either of you would release it and talk about it if it was garbage. But I'm just saying, that's what's on the internet. People, yeah, I don't care either, Ella. We're doing it for fun. We're doing it for a benefit of a nonprofit. And here's what I do know. Regardless of opinion, it will print when we're done with it. And it will print well. Usually poor printing is down to tuning. If mechanical issues are not the issue. And we're doing pretty well. I've got the pros in the chat helping me make sure we're mechanically sound. So I'm not worried about it. Everyone is an expert, just ask them. You're right. It is for the kids. For the kids. Okay. Y-axis, yeah? Let's do that real quick. So I have the original rods here. I got new 10mm rods because I wanted some beefiness there. And the longer ones, so these have been cleaned and just kind of put to the side. The longer ones are the ones I want. These two here. Let's see, it keeps up with a 3.5. There you go. At the end of the day, it's still going to be a Prusa machine. So it's not intended to be a speed demon, which I think is kind of clouded the perception for a lot of folks. Like, we think it needs to be fast, and if it's not fast, it's not good. That's really not the case. Usually, if you want the best print quality possible, you don't want to go fast, or at least you want to tune down some of the other settings that super fast printers put out there. My H2D that you see right back here, that guy prints better when I drop the outer wall speed by about 50 millimeters per second. So I think stock wise, it has it set to, I want to say 250 millimeters per second. 200 works better for me. Just cleaning these, any dust or anything off with some alcohol. See, there's a little bit of dirt on there. We'll do that. And then I'll show you what update we're doing for quality of life. You could go Rails, but the goal is to produce BOM. Yeah, Aaron, that's where I'm at, right? You can throw, you know, another $500 at this if you wanted to and do linear Rails all the way around. But what are you getting for that cost? What is the cost per dollar? I'm sorry, cost per print speed that you're doing at that point. The whole idea with this, and I fully support it, is affordable refreshing of an old printer to make it comparable, not exact, comparable to the capabilities of today's equipment. And I think this is a good base. So I don't agree with what folks are saying, but I do kind of want to prove them wrong because I think they're wrong. Okay, so those will go like so. We've got a pretty decent alignment right now. And I did print the correct parts so the rods fit. Sounds like a win-win. You have 300 millimeters per second at 4K. That's awesome. That's all you need, really. And again, this is a PLA PETG printer all day. You could do ABS on it if you wanted to enclose it, or maybe use a draft shield. But realistically, you're kind of limited to PLA PETG. So this is great for printing toys for 3D printing elves, or any other like small projects that you want. This is not going to be an H2D replacement or a tool changer or any of that. All right. Enough about those that are wrong. This is what I'm using for my Y-axis. Masumi bearings are great and they work fine, but you have to lube them. These are graphite bronze bushings that are the same size as the ones you would use, and they require no lubrication. So they're self-lubricating and they slide well on the rods. So you'll get a little bit of an upgrade here. I was going to use these for my bear build, but I don't have another Mark III. And because I'm donating this one, I might as well use these for you all. Yeah, and they're absolutely quiet. There's no bearing noise when you slide these. There's no lubrication required on these, and they should last a good long time. So you just need 3 of these. They come in a 6-pack. So if I did want to build another Mark III Prusawire, I've got 3 spares to do so. One rod will get 2 of these. The other rod will get 1 of these. And we'll figure out which side is which once we get the carriage. So carriage I have to the side. Here's our carriage here. Was pretty dusty and dirty, but I've since cleaned that up. So I don't remember which is which, so we're just going to look at CAD. Have it. This. One, turn it off. We're going to the front of the machine. Your 2 bearings are going to be on your left side, and then your 1 bearing is going to be on the right. So you get 2 here, and then you got another one over here. It looks like they're using lock nuts. and those metal brackets. I did keep those from the original build, so we'll add those in. What do they cost? All right, I'm gonna try to answer both questions. Where did I get these? I want to say I got them on Amazon, but I'm sure that you could find them on AliExpress. They're just 8mm inner diameter, and I'll measure it out for you guys. 8mm ID and probably 14mm OD. Graphite bearings, bronze bearings. So if you type in those keywords, you'll likely find it. I'm just going to put this in here for now, and then do the same on this side here. I'll loosen up the hardware here in a second. Hey, good morning, Bearded Bucket. What do they cost? 3D Wolf, not sure. They were roughly the same as Masumi bearings, so not a significant difference on cost. 15mm is what stock bearings are, so they might be a loose bit. Again, I'm using a rule to do that. I'm not using calipers. They might be 15. Let me get the calipers out. I know that they're stock size because when I was looking for them, I looked at stock size stuff. So caliper wise, they're 15. So 15. So they are a direct replacement. They should work just fine. Again, I will drop a link if I can find one. I'll go back to my order history and see where they are. I'll put a link in the Prusawire Discord under my build. What do you guys call it? My build project. I'll put it on there, and then I'll make it as a post as well, because Kittrell was asking for... Oh, I forgot already. Kittrell was asking for something too. Too slow, Kegel. Let's see. No idea in this application. You design manufacturing machines, typically run 24/7. Usually recommend maintenance replacement once per year. High-tech polymer carriages. Yeah, so I've seen those, but they are plastic. So your mileage may vary. Way too slow. Just scrolled up. Okay. I got to do some hardware through here. We're using... These are... M3x10s. M3x10s. Hey, Jason. Welcome to the stream today. Let's see if we can reuse some of the original hardware here. These are... Gotta be some 10s in here. There's a crap ton of those. I need my tweezers. My fingers don't want to reach down in there too well. Okay. Hey, Reverend. Good morning. I think a lot of folks are doing well. It's a long weekend here in the States. We got a lot of folks out of work, off work, in observation of Labor Day. That's always a good thing. So at least a 3-day weekend for a lot of folks. I also had Friday off, so I get a 4-day, which is much appreciated. Definitely needed it after the craziness recently. A lot going on. A lot going on. Okay, so I'm going to just tension this a little bit to hold those rods in place. So just going till they stop turning. And then we're going to do what Ella recommended and sort of de-rack this by loosening the front mounts and rear mounts. So we'll just keep these like a half turn loose so they're able to move. All right, so that's pretty loose there. We'll do the same on the other side. I'll try to catch up on chat here. Kegel's at work. Well, that's because you work a lot. I do some work on the weekends, but I try to limit that to Saturday morning for like an hour or two. That's usually when I do homework. I do any extra work. I do prep for stream. You know, a bunch of different things for the Killer Prince stuff. So yes, I can relate to you. However, I don't try to do that stuff on Sundays. Sundays is streaming, and then after stream, if I need to do additional stuff, I will do that after. So this moved very nicely. Hey, Redacted. YouTube didn't notify you? You want to say I put it inside the Positron channel, but I'm glad you're here, Nomad. I've been catching a lot of your stuff lately, like watching how you design your shirts and whatever. I'm gonna do that, man. That's really helpful. Thanks for streaming that. See if we can get some Killer Prince merch out there. All right, we have those. Oh, and by the way, Nomad, I did end up getting those expansion joints. They came on Monday this past week. So one day too late. You guys didn't do too bad. But they did show up, and they seem like they're going to work just fine. Thanks for getting those out. I don't know if it was you that had anything to do with it, but I'm thanking you because you're the only one that is here who will be able to report that. Appreciate you. You're playing Void Crew? I don't know what Void Crew is. Is that a online game? It has to be, right? I don't game pretty much whatsoever. So people, the folks I work with will tell me about some of these games that they play, and I have no idea what they're talking about. I just kind of grin and nod. But most of the folks I work with are younger than me by a decade or more. So I just don't get it. Calling for M3x12s to hold the carriage to the bearings here. So I'm just pulling out of the containers some of the M12 hardware, or I'm sorry, M3x12 hardware, and making sure they are correct. So 3 should be enough to get started. And so these are the brackets that hold the bearings to the carriage, and then you have lock nuts that go on top of that. This might have been easier if you remove everything, but I think for me, it's easier to do it this way. Just add the bracket like that, hold it with your hand, and then just go up through the bottom of the bracket with your hardware. And so once that goes through, you can grab your tool. If I can, there it is. Kind of push through like that. And then you take your lock nut that I thought I pulled out. Oh, there it is. Up through the bottom, that, and then you take your lock nut and just kind of thread that on by hand to hold it. And then we'll tighten it here in a second. But that goes on. You just do that sort of all the way around. This inside one's going to be a little more difficult to get to. We'll go through below the printer here. There we go. Once we get that one through that, grab another lock nut. And hold that on there. That one will be good. The idler there doesn't work. This one? Why not? Why doesn't it work? I think I finally figured out the missteps on your fresh V2. Uh-oh. Redacted, I want to hear that story. What did you mess up? Telling stories about how we screwed stuff up is a huge part of this channel, but also helps other folks from making those same mistakes. If we never share our failures and only our successes, how can we ever help others grow? That's at least my philosophy. Okay, I made it work. It's not too tall. No, so I didn't make it work. So what I did is it's the same height as your two flange bearings would be. I just put a button head on there, and that gives me just enough clearance. I think you're worried about the carriage hitting that. It gives me just enough clearance to clear the bed. Can I get some photos of it? I can absolutely do that. I need to get better about taking photos anyway, and this is the project that I've been really kind of living up to that. I've already been taking a lot of photos of this machine for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, just trying to make a more concerted effort to have content to post on all the different places, because I want people to know that this project exists, and I want people to support it because we are giving it away. And so it's been a really good exercise in making sure that I get B-roll and making sure that I get photos and all that stuff. So absolutely, I can get you some pictures. Not a problem. You wouldn't say you screwed up, just got it built, and the initial tuning was having issues with missteps, went through the process, and you think it got it solved. So then what was the problem? Is it just tuning issues? Or was there like a mechanical thing going on? Yeah, I think I unfortunately like mixed up some of the original hardware, so there's M8s mixed in with 12s mixed in with other things in here. I'm just trying to reuse what I have. And we got two more. This rear one I think is going to be a little more difficult. Just because it's access. It's a little... I mean, I guess moving it all the way forward, you can get to it. Well, and... yeah, I should have did a better job at organizing these hardware. I think I made a couple of mistakes putting the wrong length screws together. If I remember right, there are only these 6, or the only like 12 millimeter long bits of screws on the teardown, and I mixed them in with M8s and M10s because I was not paying attention. Cool. Better organization on my part. All right, I need one more clippy clip. How did I do it? Took it out. I have my 2 M3. Where is the... You guys see what I did with the bracket? Looks like you're making some good progress. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I gotta get the project done so that you and I can work on our thing. I think I'm meeting up with you tomorrow, virtually, yeah? Uh-oh, I lost a bracket. Oh, I see it. I dropped it on the frame, and because it's black, I missed it. Got it. Yeah, Dave, I'm excited to work with you, man. I know that we need to figure out some stream stuff, so I'm keen to learn some new things from a pro streamer like you. There's that one. But seriously, Dave, this is a pretty simple build. Not very difficult at all. If you've built anything, building this is going to be fine. I think the hardest part was probably routing belts, maybe, just because it's a little tight to get through the XZ with the belt. That's probably the most difficult part of it. And then I think that the de-racking of the gantry and getting things level might be a challenge, because it's always that way. But we'll come to that when we get there. Okay. I'm going to just center up the bearings in the carriage. Or should they be, I don't know, pressed against the carriage? You guys tell me. I don't really know. It's missing RGBs? Yeah, we'll get there though. We're gonna add some RGB. Burner is so pretty. Thanks, Nomad. I think you're doing an orange and black one yourself, right? Center them up. All right. Let's get I'll get this nut driver. This thing is awesome if you don't have this. It comes with all these different attachments here, so you can add like Allen keys and stuff like that. And this one I use for like lock nuts and M3 nuts. It's a 5.5 millimeter hex nut, and fits directly on there to help me hold things. And so what I'm gonna do now, sort of tip this up, leaning against the wall so that I can get underneath and hold things while I tighten. I'm just get it snug, and then I'll align these. I'll line these here in a second. Just want them snug. My rods are coming out all over the place. It's just not a good way to access. I think what I should do instead is maybe go like this, that way you guys can see a little bit better. Maybe. Hey, well, let's go the opposite side. Let's go this way so you can see. Sure. Yeah, there we go. You can see a little better. And let's get this rod back in place. Luckily, things are loose. Here we go. And that should keep things from sliding around too much. Let's center up that bearing in there. I think I probably went a little bit too tight on it. Yeah. A little bit too snug. Come on. Oh, yes, and I give you an idea? What's the idea? Yeah, I like the orange and black for this. I think that's how a Prusa should be built. You could do the Voron red and black too. I've seen, so Ella did that. That looks pretty good. I don't know, I just felt like it should be orange and black. But I like it. It's a cool project. I wish I had another Mark III to build and keep. I'd originally planned to keep this one, but it's for the kids. And so when I heard that, I couldn't say no. Anything to help kids learn more about 3D printing and have a good Christmas. That stuff's important. So, try to center up the bearings in the opening as Ella suggested, and tighten things down here. Rods are coming out again, so we'll have to put these in a little more snugly here. Okay. Just got the one more bearing. Yeah, so those are, there's some adjustment to be had. It's getting a little sticky there. Hey, Reth, good morning. I was so wrecked when I got home on Friday. Well, actually, I didn't get home till Saturday morning, but so wrecked all day yesterday. It was good hanging out with you and Voron Widow. You guys are super nice. All right, so that is that. Those are on there pretty well. This is going to bind. I can already tell you that. But I think as we move this around and we make some wiggles, things get loose. There is some noise. I don't know if that's coming through on camera. Well, there is some bearing noise there. I think it's a little bit less than it would be for like Masumi bearings. The graphite stuff is a good quality of life upgrade, I think. All right, so we'll get this all the way to the front like so. And I'm gonna sort of start snugging down the Y rod holders. Yeah, not going full tight, just getting them a little more snug than they were. And then we'll move things back and forth and let it find its happy place before we fully tighten. There's 4 bits of hardware in the front, so it takes a little bit. So going all the way back, moving forward. My my frame is just barely touching the top of this front skirt. I can hear it sliding across there, so I may undo this and just push that down a little bit and try to get a better alignment so we're not scraping slightly here. It's probably 1/4 of a millimeter touching, but I can hear that as it comes across. Moving that to the back there. Add some tension to these. Tighten all this down now. And same for these front ones. We'll finish snugging those up. Very nice. Shaking that around to get it to move great all the way through the full range of motion. Once we get there, we can come in and really secure this down now that things kind of found their home. I think that's about the best process that you can do. Is it's going to be a little bit of trial and error on the y-axis like that. The printed parts are going to be slightly different. The way you put your heat sets in is going to be slightly different. Maybe your hardware has different number of threads on it or whatever. There are variations in all the different parts and pieces. You're going to have to go through this process. Just trial and error, find the binding, and then shake and loosen things as you go. And for me, that's working pretty well. Working pretty well. Before I forget, Ella did request a photo, so we're going to just do a quick photo on this y-axis bearing. That. And I'll get that over to you here in a little while. It's starting to get warm in the garage. All right, Y carriage is on, looking good. We'll start doing our expansion joints next. So thanks to Nomad for that suggestion, and shout out to Printed Solid for actually having these in stock. But what they are just small little like square block type things. You have a couple of different threads through there. One is for the bed, the other one is for the mounting hardware. So you got 8 of those, and then you need some M3x6 button head screws. So if you don't have any, you can order them when you order your expansion joints. I just got new ones. The Allen key socket on button head screws strip very easily because we're using stainless and it's a little bit softer. So to get around that, what I like to use is a non-ball end hex driver. That'll help me not round it off and keep things from being stripped out. So if you do need to service it later, you actually can. All right, so you can see in the CAD file here that you have your expansion blocks at the bottom. And if I let's take a look at one that is on this side over here. Okay, so you can see that your hardware goes into the carriage first. That is your button head screw there, and then your block sort of slides over top of that button head screw, and then when you bolt your bed down with your flathead cap screw, that goes into the block itself. So those threads need to be at the top like so. I'm going to orient it so that all of the expansion blocks point towards the interior. That is what the CAD is showing here. So it's going to point to the center mark of the bed identified by this. It's going to be a little hard to show over here on the workbench, so I just wanted to show you that in CAD. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go around and lightly put in all of the M3 hardware, the M3x6 button head screws. Trying not to cross thread anything. And you've got 8 around the perimeter that you're going to have to do. Just getting them started by a couple threads. We'll slide those blocks on there. I didn't even know this was a thing. So I would have not done this. I would have just stuck with the stock way of mounting. I probably would have kept the silicone standoff mod on it because I didn't know this was a thing. Shout out to Nomad for suggesting that. Okay. He did mention though that on the center you're still going to use that normal standoff there, and I did save it. It is in this kit here. It's a small spacer, just a little tiny little spacer that you use here with a longer flathead screw. You're going to use the stock screw. This one actually goes in last though. So we have to get everything else on, put the bed down, and then we can put that through. So making sure that stays in place, it's going to be a little fiddly, but as long as you're working on a flat surface, it shouldn't move around unless you tip the machine for some reason. And then your last screw, I guess you don't need. It's probably intended for something else, but now you have a spare. Drop that in there. Okay. Take all of your expansion blocks, just slide those on like that. I'm going to point them all to the interior of the machine. And I want to say I'm going to have an extra one of these as well based on the count. Because we're not using one in the middle, we're using the normal standoff. Actually, no, I'm going to use all of them. Okay. And then from here, I should be able to access that top screw and slide that all the way forward and lock that expansion joint in place. Why are the spacers oriented that way? I don't know. I don't know why they chose to have them point towards the center like that, but it is the way that they have them working. And I just lost one. There we go. So this Allen key it gets wider on the shaft part of it. So I'm gonna have to switch to a more regular Allen key. So like an old school style, like these here. That way you have a long straight shaft on here that can reach down inside. So keep that in mind. You're gonna need one like this as well to be able to tighten down without compromise like that. I'm just holding the expansion joint with one hand, going through that upper threaded hole. Tighten these down to the carriage. But to Nathan's point, I'm not exactly sure why they're oriented this way. I don't know that it matters per se, but that's how it's in the CAD, and so that's why I'm doing it. I'm just trying to follow the CAD model. You thought they should be 90 degrees to what they are now. Why do you think they should be 90 degrees? I don't know that it matters. In essence, all you're doing is adding a block with a threaded hole in it that you can access from the top of the bed. I'm not really sure that it matters what orientation. So if you want to go 90 degrees or you want to do it the way that it shows in the CAD model, I don't know that it is critical. As long as your threaded hole is where your threaded hole should be, then you are fine. This might have been easier if you just added them first and then put your carriage on, but whatever works. Just hate these long Allen keys anyway. I much prefer the drivers. I'm just getting those on there snug. Again, trying to not put too much torque on there because I don't want to strip the head of the button head screw. Very easy to do with these. So get it on there tight to where things don't move and call it good. So like this one, my hand, I gotta keep out of the way so I can just twirl around. Make sure it's the same height as the expansion joint. Yes. Understand, we don't want a dip in the center of the bed. So to Nomad's point here that I'm just catching up with, I got my spacer that would go in the center. And I'll just place it next to the expansion joint, and he is correct. It is not the same height. So my standoff is not the same height as the expansion joint. I did notice that when I was ordering my expansion joints, you could order a new standoff. So to get around that, if you're like me and you want to keep it cheap, you can add spacers, and we have some M3 spacers here that I could use, and then space that up by, looks to be about 2 millimeters short. Yeah, the top of the expansion block is roughly 13 millimeters tall, and the little standoff is about, sorry, not 13. It is 8 millimeters tall. The standoff is 6, so it's roughly 2 millimeters too short. Luckily, these shims that I have are 1 millimeter thick, so 2 shims will put me where I need to be. My guess is they have a tiny allowance for the thermal expansion of the heat bed, so as to allow that expansion. They should have their side facing the center, but I can be totally wrong. Nathan, I mean, theoretically, that sounds accurate to me. I just don't know that to be true. I don't know what you said to be true or what I said to be true. Again, I'm just going on what the CAD has, and we'll see what happens. But also, I know that as I'm inserting things into the heat bed, the flathead cap screws into the standoffs, that I'm not going to tighten them so hard that it freezes things in place. I'm going to snug them to where they need to be to allow for that expansion a little bit. Right now, our standoff in the center is too short, so you could use spacers. 2 1 millimeter washers will do it, or you've got something like this where you have standoffs, and I'm hoping that I have one that is the correct length. So I've got one like this. This one has a female end and a male end, M3. And I'm hoping that it's 9 millimeters tall. It looks a little bit taller than that. Yeah, so this one is 10 millimeters ish, 9.5. It's okay, just follow the cat. Yeah. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Let's try another one here. I want to verify this is an M3 though. It looks small. It might be a 2.5. It's a 2.5. Okay. 2.5. Half. All right, so I probably don't have the right number of, or I'm sorry, the right size of spacer in my little kit here. So instead I'm gonna just do what I said, and we'll use 2 of these 1 millimeter spacers to make that the correct thickness. I got 2 in my hand. I'm just gonna use my calipers here to make sure that they are what I want them to be. Okay, so I lied to myself. They're only a half. Only a 0.5 millimeter in thickness, so I will need 4 of these. And in the meantime, to make it nice, I will go and get a new spacer that is the correct length. So I'll jump on Printed Solid and order, after stream today, I'll order that taller spacer that matches all of these. My plan is to do 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, to spread out the adjustment. But holding all of that together is going to be tough. Okay, so we'll do the 2 down. So, and then these other 2 will go on top. And what I'll do is I'll take a smaller, I'll grab my 1.27 driver and kind of put those shims on there, and then down through the hole in the bed, and that'll get everything aligned for me like that. Just trying to space that off by hand without moving it is tough for me. So just using a tool to get the stack the way that I want it. And then from here, I think I'll start putting the bed on. So let me grab that. Got my stock Prusa build sheet here. And I've got my original long hardware. All right. So this one should be able to go down through. I don't think it's going to be long enough, if I'm honest. I think I need a longer one for the middle of the bed. So going back to CAD, and we'll check the length on that and see what that looks like. This one here, saying it's a 16. That one that goes to the center there is a 16. Down the center. Not an extra one in the kit, or I'm sorry, in the original hardware at all. And so you're probably going to need to have one. So I've got these here. I don't know that these are 16 in length. So we'll go to the stash of spares. And if you don't have these little kits like this, I would pick up a set of flat heads, a set of button heads, and a set of socket heads. That way you have some choice in situations like this. And they're pretty affordable, maybe $10 for that 250 piece kit. And then you'll find what you need. It's like a 16. You'll find what you need in your kit. The way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to put my flathead through there. I'm going to hold that in place with my driver, and then get down low so I can see that that's going in that stack of standoffs we tried to install. And I slightly moved it off the hole there. We'll try to get that in place. Definitely moved it. There we go. Just a little bit of wiggle, we'll get it around, and then we can. Again, I don't super tighten that. And with a 16, it comes out below the carriage, maybe a millimeter, 2 millimeters, probably. So just put that in finger snug so I can still move that bed a little bit. And I'm gonna do that with all of the hardware. We should be able to use the rest of the original screws for this bed. Like this. I'm just going to drop these all in, and we'll try to get them in place without too much fuss. So I know that it is 9:38, and we still need to do a filament giveaway. And so if you haven't signed up for the giveaway, the link is in the chat. Once I get this bed on, I'm gonna start pulling names. So if you're not in the giveaway, it is US only, unfortunately. Shipping constraints make it hard to go to Europe or anywhere else in the world. So for now, we're still US only. If you haven't signed up yet, you need to do so, because I'm going to do that pretty quickly. Okay, so just realized that the stock flatheads are too long. So again, you're gonna need this little kit, and that's why we have it, of shorter flathead hardware. I believe those were 10s. The hardware in the CAD are 4. Yeah, this one here, that's a M3x4. Hey, LTX Designs. So I do have 4s in this kit. They're unopened over here on this side. There's also 5s in here and some other sizes, so picking up a kit, highly recommended. All right, so these M4s are super tiny. They're probably barely gonna thread into that plastic, so be gentle when we're doing this. You're gonna need 8 of these. Just putting those in there till they sort of stop turning. Really no tension on them at all. Just want that to be where it needs to. Yeah, so talking about this filament giveaway, LDO has been very gracious in their support of the channel, and they make really good filament, so I'm happy to have them as a sponsor for today's stream. Use a lot of their filament. My Switchwire, actually, which is kind of related to this, my Switchwire is about 50% LDO filament. Some of the accent color is a different brand, and then I think I had some Polymaker in there as well. Cool. I do need to swap out the cable cover here. There's a different one. I think this one might work. I don't see it hitting anything or creating any issues on clearance, but there is a nicer one with some detail in it for the Prusawire, so I will be swapping that out. But I do want to do this filament giveaway real quick. So we'll take a break from this. We'll do a filament giveaway and then probably call the stream for the day. I need to make an order for a better standoff for you all, so you're not worried about that. And then we'll clean up and talk about the raffle a little bit to plug that, and I'll show you the next project that we're going to be working on. We still probably have at least one more stream on the Prusawire. So we're not fully done yet and ready to move on, but I'm really trying to wrap this up in about one more stream. So let's do it. You probably want the nylon in there too. Yeah, I definitely want the nylon in there too. Okay, so Take it to Chrome. I gotta hit the right button though. Not prepared, so we're gonna do wheel of names, and we will clear all of these out. You guys have the best shot possible. And then I need to pull all your names. So if you guys are not in the giveaway, sorry, you've got about 20 seconds to do the thing, or I need to move on without you. All right. Good luck, everyone. That's right. Good luck, everyone. Let's see. How many responses? Oh, I've got 9 responses. I guess people don't need Filament today. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Let's see. Okay. So I'm seeing 24 responses. 24 responses. And let's check the sheet. Not seeing all the same. Okay. Let me fix this again. Link and link. Then link. Yeah, so just like last week, the form is getting all weird. There we go. Now I got you all. Killer Prince, I will never need printer poop. I'm with you. All right, now I've got everyone. I'm seeing 24 responses. You have about 30 seconds to get in if you're not in there. And then we're going to close the form. All right. Still seeing 24, so we're going to close in 3, 2, 1. Form is closed. All right. We've got 24 of you. And we'll do a little refresh here, and then we're going to pull names. Happy was the last person to get in at like 4 minutes ago. I didn't even know Happy was on stream today. Hey, I got my panels, Happy. Thanks for sending those over. Happy got me panels for a different project that we're not going to stream and we're not going to talk about, but it's super cool. And as soon as I am able to show it to you all, I will definitely share it. Probably do a little bit of short form content on it. Likely to be just a video, not a stream. But if you guys are interested in it and you want to see a stream overview and like printing and stuff, we can definitely do that. But thanks, Happy, for hooking it up. Okay, let me drop all the names here into the wheel. And now I need to know how many times I got to shuffle this thing. Oh, Petty's in. I'm gonna take Petty off the chart. You can't win. Petty won like Creality stuff. He's getting like all kind of shit. I'm seeing 69s, of course. Appreciate you. 8s, 12s, 6s, 4. Let's split the difference. Let's do Positron. 17. I like 17. That's my favorite number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 7. And spin. Yeah, Petty always cleans up on giveaways. That guy's so lucky. I need some of that magic. I'm really interested in a 250 Trident kit. TJL. I saw that you just commented, but I need you to tag me in chat. You have 69 seconds. I need you to tag @KillerPrince. But Jeremy Keela, I need a 250 Trident kit. That's what I need. You forgot to sign up. Yep. Hey, I give adequate time. I gave like a 5-minute warning. I gave a 20-second warning. EJL. 30 seconds. You need a stinger? I will trade you a stinger for a 250. I need a 250, not a gigantic ass box. EJL, I see you. Congratulations. I will forward your name to Jason at LDO, and he will arrange the shipping for you, okay? So if that doesn't happen, I can reach out and ask the question, but give them a few days to reach out to you. It'll be an email from Jason. So I'm going to forward him your email address. He's going to email you to get your info and take care of the shipping for you, okay? Congratulations. All right. So we are winding down. Where am I at? Why is my camera froze? Hold on. Uh-oh. It's so hot out here. My camera froze. I love it. 1 second. Let's get this back. Uh-oh. That's funny. There's no... We'll swap back and see what happens. Yeah, the face cam froze. That's crazy. It is really getting hot out here. That's why. So my camera... awesome. Camera froze. I'll tell you what. Let's... What do they always tell you to do, right? Unplug and then plug it back in. Turn it off. Turn it back on. Type stuff. This one, let's do not you. There we go. There we go. You kind of see the bike back there. That's cool. We'll leave it like it is. Power down, power up. All right. So cool. That was as far as we got. We got the gantry belted up today. We got the bed on today. What I'm going to do after stream is I'm going to finish up building the stealth burner. I don't know that you guys need to see me install LEDs. So what I've already done is I built the extruder. The clockwork is done here, so I'm just going to slap that on. I've got the hot end good to go, so that's going to be your V6 Revo in there. So that's good. And then we'll throw some electronics on and just get it kind of set up. So next stream we will, I don't know, kind of take an overlook of the printer itself and kind of work through some last minute things. And then we'll try our best to wrap it up next week so we can move on to the next one. How do I install LEDs? I'm going to do it in the tool head itself. So in the stealth burner face that I don't have right next to me, we'll just put that in. What I use, I'll show you real quick, is I get, let's see, what did I do with it? They have little kits that are already soldered and wired together. I'm not exactly sure what I did with mine. It's in the drawer over here somewhere for sure. But I just take one of those. So like this, right? This is not the one I'm going to use, but it's a kit with wires. All right. So you can see in the center, you already have things that are soldered together. All you got to do is just plug those into the place and then wire it up to your tool head board. We are going to throw a Nighthawk on this. So I've got a Nighthawk stealth burner kit. So you guys are going to get this as part of the build. And so that'll make things really nice for you. Just a single cable via USB. So you don't have to worry about CAN bus. It's going to be USB-C and it's going to work exactly the same. So don't worry about it. Okay. LEDs. I thought they were cathodes. I wish they were. I wish they were. When are LEDs? Do you want to see LEDs? Post that content? Get out of here. I did film the assembly process of the Clockwork 2, and I have not touched the stealth burner face yet. But if you guys really want to see it, I'll film it. I'll put it together with some light editing, and then we'll just post that as a video. How's that sound? Is that the good compromise? You love lamp. There we are. Now get out of here. Yeah, so I'll do that for you all. Again, you'll get this as a Nighthawk stealth burner version, and we'll get a little closer. Maybe we do some wiring on the next stream, but I definitely want to do firmware alone off stream, so there's no pressure, and then we'll see how it goes, because that usually takes me hours to get through. No one loves CAN. I go both ways on it. I have some that are CAN, some that are USB. They really do work the same. USB is much simpler to set up. You don't have to worry about updating it and stuff like that. It just kind of works after you plug it in, as long as you have the USB name. So it does make it easier for folks. And I don't know who this printer is going to yet. So simple is better for everyone. And then if you win it and you're a super user and you want to do all that stuff, have at it. Just share around and show folks your experience. Costs you so many long days. Yes. Post all the content. You never know who's needing it. Correct. I just need to get this stream moving because we're going to work on this next. Let me move this out of the way, and I'll show you what we're working on next. We have, so you guys saw a piece of this. If you were here early in the stream in the first couple of minutes, you saw the next build. So Reth and Voron Widow donated this V0. So you're going to get 2 plates. This is a dark rock plate from LDO. It's a brand new plate for you. You'll get the original LDO plate as well. And then, of course, you'll have a V0. So this is a V0. Let me take it out of the box. So we'll take it out of the box here, and I'll give you the overview on what it's coming with. So she is well loved, and put it back in frame here in a second. She's well loved. But we're gonna do a complete teardown and refresh of the V0. Okay. So this is what you're gonna get, and we'll do that. This is a V0.2. Does have the what do you call this? The Nevermore here. So you'll get the Nevermore. We're gonna keep the Orbiter, I believe. It does run CAN bus, so Cybertech will be happy, and Kaggle will be happy. There's lighting on the side, so you see all of the LEDs here. So you get that. There's a Pi camera inside, so you get that. Has the red Kirigami bed. You get your simple screen up here at the front. And the real kicker for this is Tulip gantry mod. So double shear at the rear allows you to run slightly higher belt tensioner on it. And we're gonna take all the rails off, blow those apart, grease everything, put it back together. We're going to just give it a once over, take some of the dust off of it, clean up some of the stuff in the back. But what you will see is you're going to get a Raspberry Pi Pico. I'm sorry, not a Raspberry Pi Pico. A Big Tree Tech Pico with a Raspberry Pi. You will have the camera. Here's the cable here. And then we'll just clean things up to make it look nice and neat for you all. Sound good? We're going to stick with the red frame. West 3D is super, super helpful. They're going to give us all of the filament we need to reprint parts for this. Wiring is very professional. So this is what you'll get as part of that raffle as well. So once that goes live in the next day or so, you'll be able to buy tickets and hopefully take this home with you. My thought process is, because the frame is already red, that the printed stuff should be some flavor of green. So we're going to use ambrosia green for that. And then for the small amount of red parts that we are going to put on it, we're going to use Santa's robe. So this would be very Christmassy themed. We're going to need to redo skirts and Nevermores and all of it. Okay. So this is its raw state, and you'll get a much nicer product at the end. Okay? What do you guys think? Is that worth it for 10 bucks? You get a whole V0. Comes, you're gonna get the top hat. So this is the top hat for it here. And then again, the order you'll get, CAN bus you'll get, and then all the other upgrades that are on it. It's gonna be very pretty. Yeah, thanks to West 3D for sponsoring the filament for this. Yeah, so those are just two of the prizes. Prusawire, which we're rebuilding now. We're gonna rebuild this one on stream over the next month or so. And then this is also gonna be raffled off. So you'll get two printers, both built live right here on the stream. And Reth is saying 1 ticket for 10, 6 tickets for 50. So check that out. You could potentially win both printers for 50 bucks. Wild. You have two V0 on. Are we done yet? Yeah, Liz, look. Our Prusawire turned into a V0. We are done. So cool. Just wanted to share that with you all. Super excited to start this build. When I built my first V0, I was not streaming at all. And I'm kind of regretting it. So we get another chance at life to give this a new home and give it a refresh and make it really nice for you all. So I'm excited to do that. How many tickets for $100? 12. 12. Armor 3D is in the raffle as well. He's giving away an Ender 3 NG provided by Fabrico. So he's going to donate his personal Ender 3 and Fabrico is going to sponsor the NG upgrade kit. So again, all three of us, Reth, me, and Armor 3D, are donating personal projects to you all because we believe in the nonprofit. So yeah, you guys will benefit, and that's awesome. 100 miles for August. Congrats, Liz. Nice. Well, cool, folks. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to finish up some stuff behind the scenes to get a little more down the line with the Prusawire build and some other things. So thanks to you all for hanging out. Congrats to TJL for winning LDO Filament today. I'll get that set up for you, and LDO will ship that out. We'll see you guys on next week's Sunday, and hopefully finish wrapping up the Prusawire project a little bit. Y'all take care.